Hi, everyone. Uh, Listen, this one is dedicated from a boomer, one of the few left today, from a boomer to Gen X and Millennials. First, let me say if my children ever went on TikTok or Facebook or YouTube and told the world what a terrible parent I was, how neglectful I was of them, didn't take care of them, didn't provide for them, they had to do everything for themselves, blah, blah, blah. You know what? I don't know a Gen Xer, not one, that I know personally, ever lives like that. And most Gen Xers never drank out of a water hose because by the time they were born, the last of the boomers who actually did drink from a water hose, if we had one, went in the house and got a glass of water if we didn't. Our parents didn't lock us out of the house. Yes, we stayed outside a lot. Why? Mom and Dad were always stressed. They were tired all the time. Why? Because both my parents worked. When I was 6 and 7, no, I was actually 6, my mother had to take her car down to the gas station and parked in line, and we waited for 2 days. 2 days to get fuel for my mother's car because there was none. My mother would leave me and my sister, younger sister, Angel, watch your sister. Don't let anybody in the car. Don't talk to anybody. This is a brake pedal for if you got to move forward. Turn on the car. She showed me how to do everything. 6 years old. I never once had to move the car, thankfully. But when she would have to leave, it was to go get food and drinks from home. We didn't have Game Boys. Gen Xers did. I had my little sister and WLS in Chicago. If the battery didn't quit on us from running the radio too long, which it did a few times. Listen, if my kids ever said what I hear Gen Xers saying about their parents on and all over social media, I would be humiliated to my core for people to think that I abandoned and neglected my children, that I deprived them of the basic necessities of life: food, water, shelter. But the fact was, both my parents had to work. And back then, the average parent worked 60 hours a week, not 40. And they did not get overtime. They got the same pay. And then they had to come home to the high cost of living while the country went through an oil recession, food recession, and wars, not only on foreign soil, but right here on our soil, from angry Americans and their kids. Look, Gen X, you did not have it worse than anybody else. That's the truth. And if your parents ever should see those videos, you should feel ashamed. And Slim Sherri, I was a big fan until your videos just became about your anger of how hard it was for you as a kid. The reason boomers aren't screaming that is because they're well aware that it's hard for all kids, because all parents cannot be home parents. Most can't. Please, Mother's Day is tomorrow. The only thing I want from Gen Xers is to stop bashing their parents. Put out a video once for how good your parents were to you. Because even though my parents struggled and had relationship issues and all that stuff, my parents loved me and they were good to me. They didn't beat me. Well, occasionally I got a good beating when I needed it. Like when I told my mother to fuck off. Yeah. I'll tell you, the ass whooping I got was unbelievable. And I was 12. I wasn't no little kid. So I got a real ass whooping. That's why people are coming at you angry. Because you're making parents sound like they dug a hole, shit in it, and then gave birth to you. Stop it. And millennials are just as angry as Gen X. Stop bashing each other. You're causing a generational war that is not necessary. You're dividing families up by what generation they're born into as to what their suffering was. It's ridiculous, it's childish, and it does need to stop. Millennials, my grandchildren are millennials. They're intelligent. They do know what a real old-fashioned phone is. Yeah. Because actually, they still had them until the 90s. Even payphones. They were going obsolete, but they were still there. And my parents always made sure I had a dime to make a phone call. You guys think your lives are worse than anybody else's? They're not. I don't know anybody who hasn't had a rough childhood and a rough adulthood. I don't know anybody. So please, as a boomer mom, stop bashing your parents, my generation. It's not right. It's not proper. And frankly, it's getting downright ignorant because I do see all these kind of videos coming up from Gen X and Millennials. You want to know why you don't hear a boomer very often? We don't say anything unless it's worth saying. And that's something you need to learn. And I hope you take down every video if your parents, even one of them, is still alive, Slim. And don't let them see it. And I don't care if you don't give a fuck. I see those videos too. The problem is, you're on here ranting, so you do give a fuck. Let's hope tomorrow, on Mother's Day, you can at least show a boomer a little respect. I love you, Slim, but I can't watch your stuff anymore. It's gotten too hate-filled, and I can't even share it because I don't want this kind of garbage going to my kids that are Gen Xers and my grandchildren who are millennials. Please, no more. Don't make a war we don't need. All right, y'all. I love you. Take care of yourselves. Be good to each other. Angels out.